Hi guys, and welcome to today's video.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
As you guys have seen from the title, we're going to be discussing black girl magic. Yeah, so basically we're just gonna have a chit chat with my sister and my mother, and also you guys talk in the comments or text me or whatever, and we can also have discussions just basically about like black women, what it is to be a black woman. So let's just get into it. And yeah, we also got rusks and tea. And I'm also doing it. We're gonna film this video while we paint our nails because we would have wanted to. When did you realize you were a black woman and that this would be a problem in your life, basically, like that you would be discriminated against because of how you're a black woman? Okay, I've always known I was black, of course, because I was like, yeah, I know I don't look like you, like other people who aren't black. But then I think it was like in grade 7, I think it was around the time when I started actually liking people.
I was gonna say
and then having a crush.
Okay.
Guys they would only like date black girls over like BBM. You know what I mean? But BBM or like or Viber. But then the moment that did you not use Viber? Anyway, but yeah, the moment
Viber,
that
what's the one where you could call
we
people?
could call, yeah. I think it was the time when I started liking people. Then I was like, oh, this is a bit. I don't know.
So what happened? You didn't feel that they responded to you, so you liked them, but they weren't responding to you? And did you realize that it's because you were black, or what about liking people made you realize?
I think it was the fact that they thought they felt the need to always mention that I was black if I was talking, like if they were like yeah, no, like it's like, yeah, no, you're cute, like you're a cute black girl or whatever, and I'm like, I know. Why'd you have to say I'm a black girl? Like I thought I was just cute, you know what I mean? And then that's when I was like, oh, you know, because it was always like, then my friends would be like, yeah, no, yeah, the black girls, yeah. And I'm just like, why is it always the black girls? What if it's just like your mates? Yeah, I was just saying, I think that like really hit me with the internalized racism, you know? Because it's always like, I feel like the way the world feeds us, they make us think that white is right. So I think with the internalized racism, when I realized I was black, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So when I realized I was black, I was like, oh, I'm like those blacks. You know what I mean? Like the harsh, like I'm not them, like, but you realize you are them because you are black at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I wasn't like sad or anything. I was just like, oh my gosh, yeah, like I'm black. And then I think that's when I started realizing, I was like, oh, that's why I've been treated differently in this situation. But it was never really something that I thought to like talk about it, because I feel like either I suppressed it so much that I didn't want to talk about it, or I just thought it wasn't that big a deal because like Crawford had quite a lot of black people, or at least in my grade. You know what I mean? So I think that's when I realized, and I was like, wow.
And how did it make you feel?
I won't lie, I think part of me, I was frustrated that it always had to be a thing now. That it's like, why do you have to mention that I'm black? It's like, I don't know why that's such a big thing for you to always mention or like say. It's like, if I'm crazy, I'm crazy. But I also think that was just me trying to exclude myself from the black people that we all thought to exclude ourselves. Because I'm not them, I'm a different black, you know what I mean? It's like a whole, you know guys, that's the thing about internalized racism. Like it really is like you're fed that throughout your whole life, and then you always try to be like, no, I'm not those blacks. And it's just like, dude, at the end of the day, I'm sure it's your nan, but you didn't see her because she's wearing a different jacket. You know what I mean?
No.
Yo, because we know. Your mom knows what she meant. It's like your grandma. Your nan.
She's stuck on nan.
When it's, like, it really could be like your distant uncle, but then you're like, no, I'm not those blacks, you know what I mean? Like when you're driving through like a township, and like, yeah, I'm black, but I'm like, I'm not them, like I'm a different level. I'm different, like, and then you bask in the fact that you've been called a coconut, or you bask in the fact that you've been, okay, not really, not coconut, but you bask in the fact that people treat you differently, because of how you're not at,
and it's like a compliment for people to be like, oh, like I feel comfortable around you, like
Yeah, and
you're not like the intimidating black.
Mom's like, I
Mom
took
is
you
like,
to this school.
What? Where my
I
children
brought you to this
going
country.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. And Malika, Mom, for you guys, when were your thing?
no, actually mine was when I got to America and I was 20 years old. I grew up in Kenya, and you know, there's the white people around, but there were not that many. And the shocking thing for us is that we had classmates.
You guys don't see color.
We had
Sorry.
classmates who were who were white, but we didn't make reference to race,
In
to people
Kenya.
by race. We made reference to people by country of origin. When I was in nursery school, in my nursery school, it was very white. I think it was maybe 50-50. And I just remember my parents telling me a story about how I was going, they dropped me off and I was walking up up from the car to the school, and on my way there a white boy tripped me. Yeah?
Yeah.
And I took him on. I got up and I took him on. And my mother and father caught that watching from the car. And they actually told, later when I was much older, they said that for them was the real realization that we had come through independence. Because independence
fought
for
a white
us,
boy.
yeah, and for me, I was just like this nonsense boy. I didn't think in my head this is a white boy. I thought this is just boys just being silly, and I just, you know, I wasn't going to tolerate it.
Yeah.
But so it wasn't. It was through others that I realized. But these are stories much later. So growing up, I didn't find it. Then I came to Swaziland, and that was very active apartheid and anti-apartheid, and that's when I started hearing people talking about
Anti-apartheid.
white people.
Sorry.
I mean, there's an
Sorry.
anti-apartheid movement,
Yeah.
and so that's when I heard people start talking about, you know, the whites and the blacks.
So why you didn't come to South Africa?
And,
Because of the apartheid.
I
This
wasn't
was
allowed
during
to-
apartheid,
This was
by
during
the way.
apartheid in the 80s. I wasn't allowed to come to South Africa. I couldn't come to South Africa.
Yeah, I wouldn't
As
do
a
that.
Kenyan, we had
I wouldn't
sanctions
want to.
against South Africa. All of us were countries that just, our passports. And even then, you know, what we knew about white, actually, when I was at University of Swaziland, was the apartheid police, like the apartheid government. So it was still sort of an institution. It wasn't a direct experience as such.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, a couple of times I had, you know, apartheid police come on campus.
In Swaziland.
Oh,
Time
yeah,
to
because
stay in
there
your
was-
own town.
Yeah. No, they did not stay in their own lane. As far as I'm concerned, this whole region was their lane. But I mean, I didn't, even then I didn't experience it direct because I wasn't, you know, I was a foreigner and so on. So I didn't really
You're fighting
internalize it or
immigration.
deal with it. For me, it was much more the politics of it. St. Lawrence University. And all of a sudden, you know, I'm speaking in class, and after class, a white girl came next to me and she said to me, "You really speak well for a black person." And,
Tough.
Yo.
and I remember
That's
thinking,
tough.
what are you talking about?
We have the same mouth, but
Right? I think the real, you know, so there was that. And I made sure to say to them, never ever try to differentiate me from another black. You know? And when I got to campus, I found that there was a lot of sort of division between African Americans and Africans, and you know, so a lot of the white Americans would always say that, you know, we were better blacks, right? So we were better, we were smarter, we spoke better, and so on. I mean, they still asked us how we learned our language, and we lied that we learned it on the boat on the way from Kenya, but. The biggest thing then was that they then sort of pitted us black against black. So Africans and African Americans, then there was some tension between us because there was this belief that, you know, we're the better blacks than they are. And I would not stand for that. And I made sure to spend my time at St. Lawrence building bridges. And I did that. And I actually ended up being the first Black Student Union president of the university.
Period.
Who was an African.
Come on.
But now here we go. No, but here we go with
Trying to
racism,
stay,
which
are
is
we gonna get-
real for me. This was the most real for me. So when you are, you know, there was many school clubs, and all the school clubs had student, you know, leaders. They had a president here, and etc. So we would have a budget that's given to every club. And so we would work through, with the rest of the Black Student Union, we worked through our budget. And we then went to present the budget to the Senate of the school, who, the council that was sort of determining who gets what money. And so I present my budget. I mean, you know, these were small money. It was like $35,000, I think I remember. And so I go and present my budget, and this is for us to do, you know, like we would have conferences with other neighboring schools about black, you know, Black and African students. We would have, you know, we used to actually go and support. We used to go and provide counseling to prisons nearby, to talk to inmates. You know, we would provide sort of social service support to communities around, you know, so it was that kind of work, but also trying to mobilize students on campus to do fun stuff. We had a play. So I put this budget forward, and they said to me, no, for the last 3 years, the Black Student Union has never been able to account for its money, and
account for its money.
For like the Black Student Union didn't properly account for their budget.
Does account mean like
do proper accounts that show exactly how you spent the money?
How the money is being
so as far as they were concerned, there were the spending was questionable. And so based on that history, and because I am Black also, therefore I would not be able to run the Black Student Union in my term effectively and efficiently and accountably, because I'm Black too. So they were judging me on the basis of previous Black leaders. I didn't even know who those people were. I've never met them. I didn't know who they were.
That's straight
so,
racism. Like,
you know,
it's
for
not even
me,
hidden.
they had made a judgment that any Black Student Union president is already already judged to be corrupt, or an account, you know, unable to account for.
What did they want?
the
A
money.
white president?
No, they wanted to give me less money because we didn't.
They just
we
don't want the
we weren't
club to
worth it, and
succeed.
exactly. And I put up a massive fight.
No, they don't
for
want to
that.
see us win.
And in the end, got the budget.
Amen.
And we even raised money from like some private sector companies. So in the end, I ended up with a budget that was
With
almost
more.
double what we started,
Come on.
and accounted for it. And so I ran actually for 2 years.
Look at you.
So, but the
My
point
mom.
is that they judged us from the beginning, and we were, you know, that for me was outright racism. Outright racism. You know.
And trying to paint it as something else. That's the part that's like so
Yeah. Oh no. It's just about accountability.
Yeah,
Like,
just the
it's
record.
about the
Ah.
records. No, that was racism. Outright racism. You know, and then from there it was just downhill. Because I think in many ways I hadn't understood racism until then. I never experienced it. I
And
didn't.
then
grow
you
up
see
with
it everywhere, hey?
Yeah, I
After
didn't-
that, you're like,
Yeah, it's
oh
everywhere.
my
Yes,
gosh.
and this is the thing. Once you see it, you start to recognize it. And I then committed a lot of my time in America to work against racism. So I worked with the National Council of Negro Women. I worked for Aurora Associate, which was a Black-owned management firm. And all the work that we were doing was about trying to find justice for Black women, and then for Black students and African students in the US.
I have a question. At what point did you realize that like being a Black woman would be like your downfall in society?
I never saw it as my downfall. I never saw, in fact,
What you going to?
for me, being a Black girl meant that I have to show excellence above everybody, because the institution thinks that I'm not good enough, but I am
But you
not
know
about
you
to
know
allow
you
that
are.
to happen.
But did you ever think it was like tiring how you have to always work harder just so that you can be seen as maybe slightly, or not like, well, yeah, slightly less than someone else
Yeah.
of another race?
I mean, you know, I had a professor who really made such a profound impact on my life to this day, Ahmed Sanatar, Somali professor, and he taught me world politics. And in that class, we were looking at like world systems, and you know, like what determines how resources in the world are distributed. and
Yeah, I want to
Right?
learn that because where's my diamonds, Lizzie?
that's right, exactly. So as we were
Where are my
doing,
diamonds?
They're on
as
the
we were
sector.
doing that, we were, I think, 3 Africans in that class, and I think 1 or 2 black.
Of course you were, because
You know,
you guys are like,
African
where are my
American
resources?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Blood diamonds. And so we had the class, the first class. At the end of the class, he says, "Can all the black students stay back?" So we all stayed back. And he started out with the African students.
And show where educates your children.
He started out with the African students. He said, "This is not a luxury for you, because the whole world system is designed against you. So if you're in this class, be ready, because this class is going to put your mind in a place where for the rest of your life you're going to fight for your position in the world." Those were his words, And I mean, I had no idea what he really was. I mean, I had some idea because I had experienced South Africa, but as a young person, I didn't quite get it, But I was intrigued by it. And then he went to the African Americans, and he says, "Everybody thinks you're losers.
Tough.
Everybody thinks you're losers." So he says, "I will fight for you in this class, for you to succeed. So if you want that, stay here, but I am going to work you, all of you, black people in this class, more than anyone else. I will not give you easy grades. You expect to do double what everybody else does, because it doesn't matter for the
I'll
white
be like,
people."
I'd be
No, he
like,
said that.
my
He
G.
said, "This class
Mama,
doesn't
where
matter for
is
the
the
white
door?"
people, because the white people can walk around their lives doing nothing, and they will benefit from it.
Yeah.
Not for you.
That's true.
So this class, be ready." It's a tough game, so we actually don't really have the luxury to not be in it.
Yeah. Back on the thing that Kwezi said about feeling like you're not that kind of black, I feel like for a large part of my life, like I felt like that because of like the school we went to and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Because like I had white friends and stuff, I was like expecting, I guess, all white people to know that like I'm not
You're
the kind of
different.
black person
And
you
you
should
would
be
try hard to
intimidated
make
by.
sure that they don't see.
You know, and also just kind of like expecting people like, oh, they can see like I'm not really threatening, like whatever, and like especially in South Africa, because like white people really love to justify their fear of black people because of like the high levels of crime. So I was like, I'm not like, you can see I'm not a criminal. Like I thought it was clear, but Kwezi and I went to Maddie's. I'll expose Madison's in Pretoria. Madison Avenue in Pretoria.
Guys, Maddie's
Maddie's is
the
bad.
pits.
But yeah, so we went to Maddie's and we didn't want to pay entrance fee because it was like 2 hours till closing, and if it was gonna be like a lame night, we didn't want to pay entrance fee. So basically, we go to Maddie's basically, and like I try to ask this white girl as she's leaving the club, like, if it's worth it. So I try to stop her on her way out to ask her like how the vibe is, so we know like, should we pay the 150 rand or should we leave? And like as I try to pull her arm, she like dodges me. She like dodges me, and like I was like, what the hell? Like I was like, why is she? My thing in my mind like was like, why is she so scared of me? Like, you know what I mean? I was like, I don't know.
It's like
really
I
just
clearly don't look like the black you're supposed to be scared.
What I mean,
of.
I wasn't
You know,
even
it's-
thinking that. I was thinking immediately like, what did I do? Like I was literally just asking you a question, like how do you stop people on the street when you ask them a question? You have to be like, sorry, I didn't even touch her. Like I just lentils. I leaned
Passing.
to her, whatever. And then I was like, sorry, and she literally went like this, and then
Yo, guys, like she literally. I was
and like ran. I didn't even get to ask her a
you
bloody
be?
question. And like it was at that moment that I realized that like I'm black. I knew I was black, but like it made me realize that like what my mom was just saying, like it doesn't actually matter. You at the end of the day, like you're still seen as a black person, you're still seen as a threat. Then it doesn't matter what your car is, where you come from, how hard you've worked. Like at the end of the day, like you're still a black person, and this person will still be intimidated by you and still like think they're in danger just because of the color of your skin, like, which is also funny because in that same breath, like, I feel like I've been spending my whole life trying to like make white people feel comfortable around me and not intimidate them by my blackness. I mean, for somebody who doesn't even know me to be intimidated by that very thing made me realize like this is out of my control. Like everyone's gonna, like, it doesn't matter. Like you can try and like not yell as loud as you want or not wear the loud clothing that you have, but at the end of the day, like you can be there in full Brandy Melville singing like Cake by the Ocean at the top of your lungs and still like somebody's gonna be like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Which is absolutely mad. Like we were at Maddie's, for Christ's sake. Still, you're
But I
threatened
think
by
that-
me because of the color of my skin. Like that was like a huge realization to me. And it's just that same thing of like when I'm in America too. It's like even though I'm not from America, it's like at the end of the day, like are the police going to be like, oh, your accent or whatever, because they don't even give you the chance first of all to get your accent out. You're like already in handcuffs, like, and like dead because of the color of your skin. So it just makes me also feel like, yeah, like you don't really have the choice to not care about these issues because the issues care about you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's out of your control. It's not what you do. It's not how you look. It's not what you say. But it is so deeply entrenched in the minds of people who are racist. For those of us who racism is pitted against, those of us who experience racism, I think it is so important that we have solidarity with one another.
Yeah.
Those who are racist, they would like to separate us.
yeah.
They would like to separate us. They want, it's a divide and conquer game.
Yeah.
So here are the good blacks, and here are the not good blacks. Here are the smart blacks, and there are the ghetto blacks.
That's so deep.
And it is so important that we have full solidarity at all times. And this now grows depending on the country where this situation, this context is happening. So if you're in South Africa, if you're in Cape Town, the racism is blacks and colours.
Through the chain, off the chain, through the roof.
So it's black and colours.
Yeah.
So even
So it's people of
even though coloured people in South Africa historically have been made to
Right,
believe
right.
that they're slightly better than black people.
Yeah.
In truth, for where racism plays out in Cape Town,
No.
yeah,
If you're colored, you're dangerous.
you're
You're a
coloured, you're
thug,
dangerous,
you're this,
you're
you're
thug, you're on drugs.
thug, you're on drugs, you're not worthy, you know, and
Yeah, you're gonna stab me.
you're blacks, you're all from the rural areas, you know, you're
Uneducated.
all that. The point about solidarity with one another, no matter
Yeah.
where you are, is that at the end of the day, even if an institutionalized racism defines you as, you know, you are on drugs and you are just dumb, right?
Yeah.
Either way, the system works against you.
Yeah.
And so it is so important on us to be in solidarity with one another. And that's the point I wanted to raise.
Yeah.
We must seek each other out because we're stronger together. I was working for this organization, and because I'm light skinned, I always thought that you know, white people don't look at me.
And think you're black.
No, they know I'm black, but they don't look at me. They're not attracted to me. They're not interested in me.
Yeah.
What do you mean because of your lighter complexion?
Yes, because the standard in Kenya, where I grew up, is that white
Oh, when
are
you're
always
working
with,
in
The
Kenya.
darker.
with very dark skinned women.
Yeah, no, that's
Right.
makes sense.
That was one perception that I had. The other perception I had,
That's a bit wild considering colorism.
Colorism,
yeah,
But anyways,
that's the perception I had. The other perception I had was that
there is
in general, when white guys looked at you, it was because it was sexual, and it was definitely
a fetish.
you're an object,
Yeah.
like a sexual object, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of
Never
this,
fetish for
Yeah,
like dark
exactly.
skin, your dark skin.
or no, even just for black people. And so this guy who I'm working with, he's like looking at me, and he comes to me one day, and he's like playing around with my braids, and he's like,
That's another thing. Yeah.
you know, he's like this with my hair, and I kept doing this, you know, and I could just see that somehow the braids, and then just the whole, you know, that there was just this, yeah. And I remember thinking that this for me was the height of racism. So it wasn't even, it was sexism, yes, but it was racism because he had objectivized me immediately. Objectified me. Objectified me, but in a, you know, like racially objectified me. Like, you know, he had objectified me as a black, as a black woman. He had objectified me as a
woman.
You know, as a woman and as a black, as a black person. And I hated that. I just hated it. I was so angry. So he would touch my hair, and I wanted to just kill him.
Did you hear that? He touched my hair, and I wanted to just kill him.
You know, oh gosh.
Say it loud, say it loud.
And he,
you know, that's definitely worse.
He said to me,
He was
why
like,
are you so
rather
angry?
call me the
He said to
N-word.
me, why are you so angry? Why are you so angry? Why are you being so rough about this? And I said to him, why don't you talk to me and ask me, you know, what I think about this work that we're doing. Let's talk about politics of the day.
Rough!
You know, why do you start out and it's my braids, and you're looking at me in this way that has already undressed me roughly? And so,
And it's just also deep because it's just like, not to bring up slavery, but it's just like you guys really
slave
thought
masters
that black people were your property, like, and like to the point where like a lot of like white women were jealous of like their like husband slaves because they would prefer to sleep with their like black women slaves, maybe because they would could just use them and they wouldn't have a say. And so it's just like you just expecting things to be like that is like really deep, to say the least.
every time a white guy made a pass at me, I'd always think objectifying.
Yeah.
You know?
It doesn't feel like
It doesn't feel
But
sincere.
especially because it wasn't, you know, let's build a relationship, let's talk as friends. It was always like, my hair, my, you know, my backside, my, you know, there was always
my
comments
gosh.
like that, you know, like, oh,
Don't
you're
even
so,
get me
you know,
started.
I like your
on
fullness, so all kinds of strange kind of comments. So,
lingo.
Yo, I like your fullness.
Your
Yo!
fullness. That was like the case at Crawford. Like all the white guys that would be with black girls would never like date them and never like take them home to their mom. At the end of the day, like they'd always date a girl that looks exactly like their sister. But then they would be like sleeping around with all the black girls with like the biggest bums and like the most full-figured, like kind of likes her body, likes to show it off a little bit kind of girls. Also, remember when in the bus he asked me what my bra size was, and I was like,
What?
he
Was
asked me what
I
my bra
there?
size was. He asked me what my bra size was, and I was like, why or whatever. And then I told him, and then he was like, oh no, I wouldn't be able to handle that. And I was like, what?
handle what?
But I was just like, what is there to handle? Like,
When they tune the I don't know how to handle a black woman. Do you think I turned into a werewolf?
honestly,
Not
like,
into
that is not a compliment.
Like-
That pisses me off so much. Like when guys want to pass black women as like, you're too strong, you're too
What do you
independent.
think I'm
for me,
dragging
you're too
up
what?
with kissing you?
It's like, what do you think this is? Like, I don't understand it.
Like,
Yeah,
it's not
no,
a
it's because,
compliment.
you
Oh,
know.
you're too exotic for me. Good
But that's
heavens,
the thing.
am I a fruit?
It's also like,
Am I an exotic fruit or something? What do you think this is?
what is the narrative being told about black women? Like, that you guys are like aggressive, you know, like you're aggressive, you're too much to handle, you're opinionated, you can't be tamed, you can't be controlled. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's a problem, because people are like, I could never date a black woman, like she's too. The narrative spoken about black women to the point where like you haven't even met me, I haven't said nothing to you, and you're already like, I just can't handle it. Like I'm like, what the hell?
What? What are you trying to handle?
What the hell? Like,
Do you think
at least
my
go
body
person
parts-
to person, like, oh, I can't handle Jessica, I can't handle Samantha, like, you know, but talking about like, oh, I can't handle black women because they're all like this, which is like not even like our like whatever things
that
to
we-
say. We didn't even say this. We're just going about our business, and people are like, this is how you are.
Yeah,
And now you meet someone and they're like, oh, are you gonna be like every other black woman I've ever met? And it's just like, are you
And I
actually
think one of the
joking?
biggest things about racism and this issue is how black women are sexualized.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
that
we
one
have-
makes me like.
Yeah. And so this for me was one of the biggest things, and I just, you know, I just found it so. It was the worst part of it all. Was to be objectivized for me. I was like objectified.
Yeah, exactly. It's very tough, and like being fetishized. Yeah, like that's something that I feel like because of how being black is a trend now. Then I feel like it's very it's a trend. Mom. They take our culture, but they don't want to have our lives.
You know, being black is cool now. Everyone's like, oh,
it's
I want to be
cool
black.
now. We're cool.
In whose world?
We're the no, mom. It doesn't mean they don't hate us.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
racism is still,
Don't get me wrong.
Racism is still
Because
alive
black
and
people
well, my
are a trend,
friends.
that does not mean racism is like underground now. No,
But what do you
it
mean
is
it's a trend?
literally
I wanna know.
It just means
thriving.